I'm sorry you guys get to wait. You get to see me fidgeting and adjusting in this chair in this room, and it'll be better tomorrow because everything will be a lot better. Because I can only get better. I can't get worse at this. But since they're not here yet, I'm gonna go ahead and just start with a little bit of a precursor as to what made me want to do this mindset challenge for you guys. Is part of because I've been reading a bunch of books, and if you've had any conversations with me in a while or more recently, then I have been reading like multiple books at one time, and everyone thinks I'm crazy for doing that. But actually, like, I realize now that I really like it a lot because it helps me kind of remember the information that I'm reading. A lot of it's really interconnected, and a lot of people say the same things. And so a lot of the books that I'm reading are about, they're, for lack of a better word, they're about spirituality. And I know like that crosses a lot of lines for people. So don't worry about that part, guys. I see I have 2 more people on there, 1 more person. If you can tell me who it is so that I can see who's on. I think that's Danny. Anyway, so just be open to this. If you're on, the book that I was reading last, it talks about if the teacher shows up when the student is ready. And so a lot of times you'll look back and you probably reflect lessons that you didn't learn at the time, and you're like, oh man, like, why didn't I do that before? And so anyway, I've been reading these 2 books right now. One of them's called Wishes Fulfilled by Wayne Dyer, and then the other one is by Gabby Bernstein, and her book is called well, I just finished one book. It's called The Universe Has Your Back, and then I'm reading her new book, but I haven't really started that one yet. But anyway, so I was reading Wishes Fulfilled the night before last, and in the middle of the night I woke up and I was like, well, I guess I'll read. If I'm up at 3 in the morning, I'll just read because it'll help me go back to sleep. And I was reading the same pages that I read before I went to bed, which was kind of funny. I guess somehow I pushed the pages back on the Kindle, and I'm reading the information, and it was like a little light bulb came on, and I was like, oh my god, how have I not done this before? So then I was like, I gotta tell everybody. And I thought that sharing with you guys, it's the new year, a lot of people are wanting to change something about themselves, and it's not really about changing yourself, it's more about being more of who you really are. And we lose ourselves in a lot of different ways. So hopefully this activity will help you guys in the next 2 days kind of transform into being who you really want to be, because it's in there. Anyway, so just go ahead and grab a piece of paper right now with me, and I'm going to ask you the same question. I'm just letting y'all know that it'll be the same question. It's going to be the same question 5 times, and you just answer whatever comes first to your mind. And you don't have to comment on what you wrote. You can if you want, but that you don't need to. It's really more for yourself and for your own personal growth. And so what you want to do is write, just write whatever comes up to your head when I say this. Okay, so hopefully you guys are ready. You're anxiously waiting for these for these questions. It's the same question though. Okay, so who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Ask you one more time and just write whatever comes to mind. It doesn't have to just be 5 things. It could be, 100 things. You probably have 100 thoughts by this time. Who are you? And so I'm going to share what I thought when I was answering this question for my own self, when I was having this epiphany about this and like, oh my goodness, now I understand. And so in the books, it talks about that I am is God's first name. And to not go into all of that, essentially it talks about that we are, we are God, and everything that we say is, we're part of God, and what we say is, give me 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. Okay, so what we put behind I am is very, very important. It defines who we are. It defines us in more ways than we can even imagine, and it's what we manifest in ourselves. Okay, and so I'm going to share what I wrote. I wrote, I am smart, I am good at everything I try, I am persistent, I am flexible, I am short, I am impatient, I'm a leader, I'm not good at basketball, I'm not good at lifting, I am strong. And so, I realized that I wrote a bunch of different adjectives, a few nouns, but mostly descriptors of who I think I am. And I did this activity yesterday with my team and one of my peers' team at work, and I realized that a lot of the answers were mostly centered around roles. I'm a mom, I'm a caregiver, I'm XYZ, a noun. And so those things are not who we are. And before I go into that tangent there, I do want you guys to, take any I ams that were negative and change those into positive. So I put, I'm impatient, right? So that's something that I would write. I would change over to say, I am, I don't know. I don't want to say I'm patient, because I feel like when people are patient, they're asking for wisdom. They're asking for lessons to come. I graciously wait for things to come to me. There we go. So, you want to change it to something more positive that fits and aligns with what you want to happen and come into your life. And so, I'll share a little bit more about me and all of my thinking too. Is so when I was reading this, I was thinking, oh my goodness, I see how what I believed in myself, and for example, all my life I've been told, you're so smart, and so I internalized that. Hey Shannon, how are you? I internalized that a lot, and so I would always say, I am smart, and so that benefited me throughout my life, in doing that, and knowing that I'm smart, right? But there's other negative things that I had to overcome, and that I never really shared while I was overcoming those, but I will share them now. And so growing up, I always heard, oh my God, you're so dark. And then other negative things about my skin color that really brought me down and changed my personality and who I was at the time, until I overcame that. And it took some time, and I started telling myself, like, I love my skin color, I love what I look like. And it took a lot of time. I won't lie and say that this just changed overnight or something. It really didn't. But I do want to share a picture of me when I was little, and looking back at it, it's like, man, I was so dark, but I was reflecting everything back that I was hearing, right? So we're reflections of what we believe, and then people say things that reflect that. Like, it's this vicious cycle. If you believe that that you're fat, then people will reflect that back to you in ways that you were like, my gosh, that was so rude, why would they say that? But it's in there. It's a belief that you believe. So that's where a lot of miscommunication happens. But anyway, so this is a picture of me when I was little, and why I was crying, I don't know, don't ask me. My dad took the picture, not me. I think I was like 2 or 3 years old, but you can see how much more darker I was back then. And I used to say, like, oh, it's because I was in the sun. I played a lot outside, but I work out and run outside now. and my skin color is not as dark, right? And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with this picture or the skin tone there at all. That's not where I'm trying to get that. But you know, we become who we believe we are, and truly, honestly, I find this amazing that there's such a big skin color difference. Okay, Danny, I'll just watch the replay back. Put hashtag replay if you're watching this on the replay. I think that's what the what is it called? The influencers say. Anyway, I will be following up. So if you guys want me to make sure that I follow up with you in about a week after we do the 3 days, just put follow up on there, and I will follow up with you to keep you accountable. And so, as I was saying, so you truly become whatever it is that you believe or that you tell yourself. Even if you say it in secret and you don't tell anybody, you don't say it out loud, the thoughts are there. And you know, I am is very powerful, and you want to use that wisely and carefully. I mean, I'm sure you have loved ones. Think of the person that you love the most in the world, and would you talk to them the way you talk to yourself? Would it be encouraging, or would it not be encouraging? Would it make them flourish, or would it not make them flourish? And treat yourself the same way. And we got to show ourselves that we love ourselves first, and then our light will shine brighter, and then we can help others in their own transition and their own transformations. And so now back to the other thing. If you wrote a lot of nouns as to who you are versus adjectives, the first thing that you can do to help yourself with that, because it is a transition to go from saying I am a mom to I am strong and independent. And so what you can do is you could say I'm a strong and independent mom. Instead of saying I'm a single mom, which kind of has a negative connotation in itself, then you can say I'm a strong single mom. If you are a wife, you can say, and you really love that role, there's nothing wrong with the role, that even just saying I'm a mom is a very neutral statement. It doesn't say anything about you. It's like a blank statement. It's like a blank, you left it blank. It's not anything. A mom is not anything. It's you who defines that. So what about being a mom defines you? And the reason is because some kids will leave the house, and yes, you will still be a mom, but then you'll begin to lose yourself and be like, man, I don't know who I am anymore because I'm not doing XYZ. So that's the reason why you don't want to label yourself based on an identity that's outside of you, right? And that can go for, saying, oh, I'm Mexican. Well, what does that mean? Some people might see it as a negative thing, and some people might see it as a positive thing. And so those are those things that we don't think about when we say these words. Another reason we use these labels per se is because we are hiding behind them. It's easier to say I'm a mom, or I'm a teacher, or I'm whatever your job is, right? And the reason is because if we are these things, then we don't have to think about who we are. People already have a mental conception of what a teacher is, or what a lawyer is, or what a doctor is. Whatever your thoughts are on that, then you want to embody those things. And by saying it, it may feel like you are identifying yourself as something, when in reality, we're just kind of like a neutral, like just going on in a holding pattern, just there. And really at one point in your life, or some point in your life, you'll feel like, oh, I need more than this, which is good. It's a good point to be at and be like, okay, I'm ready to wake up and stop living the same day every day and really truly start living. So for today, I would like you guys to change those statements to positive statements. If you're not really sure, you're stuck, feel free to reach out to me and via instant messenger on Facebook. That's fine. And I can help you with that. And then put those statements somewhere where you can see them regularly. This could be on your computer. This could be on the mirror when you brush your teeth. I mean, you should be proud about this, about whatever it is that you want to be. You want to feel it inside you, something that moves you. You know what you want to be. I don't need to tell you guys. I know that you do. But write it down somewhere where you can see it, and then put it there, right? And thanks, Chelsea, for sharing. And it's so easy to get lost in that row. I like to call it too, in the hustle bustle of life, we lose ourselves because we get so fixated and focused on doing these things because it's easier to do those things than to think. Right. And then when you get to a point in your life when you're just tired of doing that. And that's another one, right? So saying the word I'm tired. So if you're saying you're tired every day, just stop saying you're tired and truly start saying how you want to feel. And it's hard to not say I'm tired. It's such it just comes out naturally for most people all the time. But we really just need to watch what we say, especially if we want to change how we're feeling. So we want to feel refreshed, start saying it every day. And now you might think like, well, that's hard to do. And it is hard to do. So what I've done for myself really is I put reminders on my phone, like on the calendar. Y'all all have phones and you can put in your calendar, repeating different times throughout the day. And it may feel silly at first, but when I see those little reminders to tell me to do whatever, or just a statement, then I really just start repeating it, right? So one of them that I have it 3 times a day, is be thankful. And so I look at it and it reminds me, and it's so funny because sometimes the little reminder will pop up, especially when I'm definitely not being just thankful. And so, it reminds me, it kind of, reminds me to be mindful. And speaking of mindfulness and then grounding, and so I'm just going to go off on another tangent on there. So there's grounding techniques and then there's mindfulness techniques, and they're kind of similar. Grounding is more for someone who maybe is feeling anxious or is dealing with a stressful situation and they want to be able to get a control of it. And so grounding is when you touch something physical, where mindfulness is more, for me, in my perspective, is more within and more, taking a step back and to reflect on the things that you're saying and the things that you're thinking. Because, as much as you want to think that having negative thoughts doesn't affect you internally and how you view the day, then, it's really just lying to yourself there. Because I know that I balanced that line very well for a long time. It's like, it's okay if I'm judgmental. I'm not hurting anybody because I'm not telling anybody, but really you're just hurting yourself. So try to let go of those slowly. Forgive yourself for those thoughts, but that's another lesson for another day. Today we are going to work on ourselves and what we can do to be the person that we want to be. So make sure to have a sticky note, find a place to put it, say those to yourself. At least once a day. Challenge yourself to maybe say them 3 times a day today. Put it on your phone as a reminder, whatever it is that'll work best for you. Most likely you will never turn that reminder off. So whatever you want to be, put it on your phone and it'll be there, and it'll grow over time, just like anything else. Any belief that we've had came from somewhere, and then it grew and it grew, and it's our value now. So I'm going to end it there. Thanks guys for watching. If you want me to follow up with you on this next week, now I am going to be on tomorrow and it's going to be tied to this and something differently, but it'll be tomorrow. If you guys have a time that you guys prefer, I might come on around the same time or a little bit earlier, just depending on what everyone likes. I know that watching something live is more fun than doing the replay, but I appreciate anybody that's watching this after. I wanted to do this in the morning versus the afternoon because then you can have that momentum. I may do it earlier if people want it earlier. So thanks for watching. That's it. That's all I have, guys. Have a great day. Thank you, Ivy. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you. I'm looking forward to your IM telling me what your IMs are, your previous IMs, and then if you need to, what you need to change them to. If you need to, you might have found some nice adjectives. If you read my blog, you might have had an advantage. And if you don't read my blog, please subscribe to it. Thanks, guys. Have a good rest of your day.